and welcome to the mousiemakes podcast. I'm Helen and I'm coming to you from Durham in the northeast of England, and this is my little place on YouTube where I chat each week about all the things that I love making and doing. So a lot of the time I'm just sharing with you the crafty objects and things that I'm making and things that I've finished, but sometimes I'll go to the kitchen as well, make something nice. And obviously I like taking you for a little walk as well, so we quite often do that. But some of the weeks I get a bit more philosophical and share my thoughts with you on a particular topic. And today is one of those. I'm going to chat to you a bit about art and creativity and what those things mean to me. And I'm going to do that while I get busy with some other things, so you can see me getting on with a bit of drawing and some other things that I've done recently. And I'm also going to take you out for a little wander though, to a lovely place not very far from here where it's nice to go for a little stroll. So we've got that to look forward to later as well. So I'm going to begin by thinking about what I mean when I talk about creativity. The word comes from the Latin word creare, which just means to make. At its simplest level, we can say that a creative person is someone who makes things: clothes, toys, paintings, poems, films, and much more. More often than not, though, describing someone as creative implies a good deal more than this. In my mind, to be creative means engaging with your imagination and inventiveness, perhaps adding your own individual slant to something that already exists. There's an element of being able to listen to yourself and having an ability to rise above your fears of failure or inadequacy, and just to follow ideas without worrying about where they may take you or what anyone else might think. For me, the most crucial part of developing my creativity is being able to lose the fear of failure and just being able to go with the flow. Children are great, really great at just fearlessly going with the flow. And this is why the great artist Picasso said apparently that it took him 4 years to paint like Raphael and a lifetime to paint like a child. And filmmaker Tim Burton said that anybody with artistic ambitions is always trying to connect with the way they saw things as a child. In an article that I read recently on the BBC Culture website, the writer said that creativity is many things. It is making connections that create new ideas. It is embracing fear and the inner critic. It is staying open-minded and having an inquiring mind. Creativity can be applied to almost every area of life, to the world of business, to engineering, medical care, teaching, to name just a few. But right now I'm mainly thinking of how it applies to art and craft, and in particular to drawing. I hear so many people say things like, "Oh, I can't draw," or "I wish I could draw, but I'm just rubbish at it." You might be listening to this and know that you have absolutely no desire to draw, and that's completely fine because we don't all feel the need to express ourselves in the same way. But if you're listening to this and secretly wishing that you were better at drawing, then I really encourage you to give it a go. I really loved the concept behind the TV series that started during our first lockdown here in the UK, presented by UK artist Grayson Perry. In the programmes, called Grayson's Art Club, he was promoting the idea that one way of dealing with all the restrictions being placed upon us because of the pandemic was to express yourself through art. So he's been aiming to make the process of creating pieces of artwork accessible to everyone, and he reinforced this by showing a variety of pieces produced by viewers of all different abilities. He's shown genuine appreciation for every single piece of work that he's talked about. And he's pointed out the ways in which people often express their feelings so appropriately, such as one viewer's drawing of the view out of her window, which looked onto a row of dustbins. The TV series was so popular, in fact, that a second series has just finished, and there's going to be an exhibition of some of the work submitted once all the lockdown restrictions have gone. I came across 7 excellent tips from Grace and Perry for getting started on creating art. So the first one is to know yourself and own your feelings and use them. Secondly, be uncool. It's a powerful creative force. Thirdly, nobody is original, so don't even try, and don't feel embarrassed about borrowing. Fourthly, don't aim for global appeal. Be like a prized local cheese. I really like that one. I'd like to be like a prized local cheese. The fifth one is don't cling to the idea of being right. Be vulnerable and open to creative processes. Sixth, put the hours in. Yeah, well, that's really important. You can't improve at anything unless you actually work at it. And finally, to just play about seriously. Insignificant doodles might turn into great ideas. So if the idea of drawing or painting or some other form of self-expression appeals to you and you haven't tried it for a few years or even since you were a child, then I really urge you to give it a go. My own way into trying to improve my drawing was to decide to use very small pieces of paper, because even the blank page of an average-sized notebook can be a bit daunting if you're not used to sketching or doodling. This year's 100-day project, which I only learnt about at the beginning of this year, gave me the perfect incentive to commit myself to doing a bit of daily drawing practice. And as I'm recording this today, I've now completed 68 tiny daily drawings. I feel really proud of myself for keeping up with this project and for being brave enough to take a photo of each day's drawing and post it on Instagram to share with all the other people taking part in this project, and to anyone else who might be interested or just encouraged. And I know that my pictures are not perfect. I'm not trying to draw a picture which is like a photograph of the thing that I've drawn, but I can see that I'm learning to do certain things when I draw. Some of my pictures are better than others, but I am trying to value every one of them because I can learn something from it and it just says something about me. But I mean, on Instagram, I'm finding it absolutely fascinating to see the huge variety of creative things that the participants are doing. Every kind of art media that you can imagine, and approached in so many different ways. Some people are participating with different fibre arts, and others by writing a daily poem or a piece of prose. Some have chosen to use one large canvas that they're adding to each day, whilst others have chosen a theme such as doing a daily portrait or an appliqued bird or a daily collage using things gathered whilst out on walks in the countryside. It's really amazing the things that people have come up with. If you have got an Instagram account, it's really worth taking a look, and you just need to use the hashtag the 100-day project and hopefully you see lots of these lovely photos. A little while after I'd started doing my daily drawings, I happened to come across a book called A Year in Small Drawings, which completely encapsulates the approach that I'd already decided to take. Like me, the author thinks that by not having to fill a large area with a complex drawing, it's much less scary to just draw little snapshots, small things, or just a little part of a larger thing. The author also says that it's really important not to worry about what a drawing looks like. Supposedly wrong drawings are just as precious as the well-observed drawings that you'll do after plenty of practice. There's an interesting section in the book on embracing imperfection, which is a subject that really interests me and which I'm going to chat about another time. So I just want to finish by telling you something that really appealed to me during one of my recent Zoom yoga classes. Our lovely yoga teacher said that when we're practicing yoga, we shouldn't say to ourselves, "Am I good at this?" But instead we should ask, "Is this serving me?" And I think that this applies just as aptly to doing creative things, whatever form that takes. So if you decide to sit down and do a bit of drawing practice, try really hard not to ask, "Am I good at this?" but rather, just try to be non-judgmental and non-self-critical, and reflecting on whether the activity feels the right thing for you, and then see where this exciting journey might lead. Okay, I'm going to stop philosophising now and we're going to go for a little stroll around a place of local interest that I went to actually a few weeks ago now. You'll actually see that the snowdrops were still flowering, but you can never have too many snowdrop pictures, can you, really? So yeah, it's called Ushaw, and it was called Ushaw College originally. It was built in the Georgian style in the early 1800s. Some really beautiful buildings there, and it was built as a Catholic seminary, and the first priests were started to be trained there in 1808, I think it was. They also have a very, very large library and a really beautiful chapel. The one that's there was built a little bit later in the 19th century. That is really lovely as well. And it has gorgeous grounds as well. Nowadays it's used as just a local place of interest to go and visit, but it also houses lots of studios where local craftspeople and artists can go and rent a studio out, and there's quite a nice thriving community there now. They quite often have exhibitions, and it's really good. There's all sorts of people have studios there. There's basket makers, there's patchwork quilt makers, there's a man who decorates leather shoes, there are painters, yeah, all sorts of people there. They're using the studios. But the grounds are just really lovely. They've been open all through the pandemic, and it's just a peaceful place to go and have a bit of a stroll. So hope you enjoy having a little stroll with me. Okay, well, it's time for me to go now. I assume that since you've got to this point in the video, you've probably not been sent to sleep by all of my ramblings. Yes, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who has been leaving such lovely comments. I really love reading them. And now when I sit down to make a video, I feel like I'm actually chatting to my new friends, my new YouTube friends. and it's such a lovely feeling to be part of a little group of people. And so keep commenting, but if you don't want to comment, that's fine as well. That's okay. Just keep watching and enjoying. So there we go. I'll be back again very soon, and until then, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye.